All right, so this section is going to cover parabolas. This is 10-2. And in this section, we have seen some parabolas, but we have some new terms. And again, we're going to start turning them sideways and kind of looking at a couple different things differently. So let's first draw a parabola we're kind of used to seeing. And let me label something called the focus and it kind of explain what that is. So here's our origin here, 0, 0. And our parabola, we'll just say looks kind of like this. And we've seen these and graphed them for years. What we actually have on this is a focus. That is going to be a point. And it's the point it's going to be 0, C, and I'll explain how to find C here in just a minute. And what that point does is, well, let's label one other thing real quick. Whoop, 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 whoop. This line is the same distance away from the vertex here, from the the focus there. And this is called the directrix. And that directrix is this line here, and it's y equals negative c. So you'll notice that these are going to be the same number. From that vertex, we're going to be the same distance. And why do we even care? Why do we have this line called the directrix? Why do we have this focus? What the focus does is if I draw a line anywhere to the parabola from the focus, it'll be the same distance down to the line here on the graph. So clearly I didn't draw this super well because the distance does not look the same. But that's the idea of this focus, is anywhere to that parabola. It could be up here and back down. They're going to be the same distance. And so we have to remember the directrix and the focus. And once you find C, you can easily get both, and they're opposite signs of each other. Okay. And then another thing to remember is the axis of symmetry. That goes straight down the middle here. And that's, maybe I'll do that in red so you can see it a little bit better. Just because it happens to be, because this one's, well, it doesn't really show in red real well, does it? So axis of symmetry. Maybe I should have done a highlighter. But the axis of symmetry is where you can cut this shape in half, and you can see that it would line up or be symmetric on both sides. So it always goes through the vertex. You've had to label it quite a few times before, and it's x equals whatever number is on the x of the vertex is the way that you label that. So we could also, so this is our general graph here of a parabola that we've seen lots of times. We could also turn them sideways and talk about the same kind of thing. Let's draw one of those. So let's see, we're still going to have our center here, or our vertex here at 0, 0 for now. Okay, so here is another parabola, and our focus is here maybe, and then our directrix would be here. So the directrix, if we turn it, instead of being y equals c, it's going to be the line x equals negative c, sorry, and this one would be 0, or c 0. So you have to notice the difference in the points because you're going to go over C, so it's in the X spot, versus going up C, which is in the Y spot. And then this line here for the directrix is X equals instead of Y equals because it's vertical. And your axis of symmetry would be right here down the middle. Again, we could do that in red so we can sort of see it. I wish I had a highlighter. Oh, maybe I do. Highlighter would work better. All right, so maybe right here would be our axis of symmetry. Right? There, it looks better in highlighter. So those are the two, I can't fit them both on the same screen, but those are our two different shapes we're looking at. Now I could flip this over and it could turn this way. I could flip upside down my parabola, but this is the general parabola idea for this section. And let's look at a couple problems and see how we find this C value. So here's how we look at our formulas for these ones. They're y equals ax squared, okay? And a is equal to 1 over 4c. So that number a is equal to 1 over 4c. So that's how I can find my c, is looking at that a value. And then we could find our directrix and our focus. So let's look at a couple examples. I could be given the focus already, which is 0, 2 for this one. And I could be given, oh, let's just take the focus, just the focus, and I want to know, what is the directrix? And what is the equation? All right, so this is our equation here in general form, right? And so here's our focus. If that's our focus, what's going to be the directrix and what will be the equation? Well, the directrix, we know that this is our C value, right? So it's going to be negative C value. And we have y equals, which will tell us that it is a open up or down parabola. If it's x equals, it's going to be an open sideways. I probably should have put that on my notes, but we'll add it in a second. Maybe I'll just add it up here. So x equals a over x squared is the, how do I say, horizontal. That's how they call it, horizontal parabola. So it's going to go, just a little picture, right, to help you. It's going to go like that, right? And then this one's going to be a vertical. So we know this is a vertical parabola because it's y, well, 0, 2. We know because this is in this y spot. So the directrix is going to be y equals negative 2, because this is 2. This one would be negative. And let's draw what we know so far. I was trying to remember when I wrote these notes yesterday, if they gave you both of these or if they gave us one. And I couldn't remember what they gave us for the directions. Now I was like throwing myself off a little. So we know the focus is at 0, 2. Okay, so that automatically tells us, you know, that this is going to be up and down. And we know at 0, negative 2 here is going to be our directrix. And the vertex is going to be at 0, 0. And I think you were given that in your directions too, is the vertex is at 0, 0. And so we know a little bit. Now let's write our equation. Our equation, we need to put in our C value. So we know that we're going to have y equals, for A, it's going to be 1 over 4 times C. C we know is 2, because the C is on the focus, not the directrix. It's be the opposite sign of the directrix of x squared. So if I simplify that, it's 1/8. So we could write it two ways. We can go 1/8 x squared, or we can say x squared divided by 8. Either way. So that'll help us with then graphing this. So you can put that in a calculator, or you can make yourself a chart of points. But I know, all right, so if I put in 2 squared is 4. 4 divided by 8 is a half. So I know a little bit, like if I put in 2, I'd be up here at 1/2. I know 0, 0 is on the graph because 0 squared is 0. 0 times anything is 0. And I also know if I take negative 2 squared, that's positive 4 times 1/8 again will give me 1/2. So here's kind of the idea. I could put in 4, 2, 3, 4. 4 squared 16. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So we could put in that number. And then here's our graph. Kind of looks like it's kind of a wide looking parabola. Ta-da! So we can just take the focus, knowing C, we can find the directrix, and we can then find the equation of the parabola. Let's look at kind of going the other way. What if I knew the equation was y equals negative 1/12 x squared? What do we remember about that negative in front of the x squared is it flips it upside down. Okay, so that's one thing that we should kind of remember from when we were graphing these earlier in this class. So from here, can you tell me the focus? So I want to know the focus, and I want to know the directrix. Okay, so I'm here, and I know that this has to equal A